Good morning, everyone, and welcome at ECCMID TV, brought to you live here from our ECCMID TV studio at the venue of the 33rd ECCMID Congress here in Copenhagen, Denmark. My name is Judith Cohen. I will be acting as your anchor woman this year during ECCMID TV. And today, it's Saturday, April 15th, 2023, and today is the first day, finally the kickoff of the 33rd ECCMID. And with me on the couch here in my TV sofa is ECCMID's Programme Director, Jacob Moran-Gilad. Warm welcome, Jacob.
Morning,
it must be excellent to see your program that you so carefully put together this year finally coming together and seeing all these enthusiastic scientists ready to start off this scientific program.
Yes, it's an amazing feeling to see this actually taking place here in Copenhagen after such a long process of planning and preparations. And I think we're going to have a superb Congress, a record-breaking one. I can already say that. So,
in which way do you think it's record-breaking? Or hope it will be record-breaking?
Yeah, I think first of all, with respect to registration and attendance, I can already disclose that we have a new record with over 15,000 registrations.
Wow.
That is definitely a new record for ECCMID. And we will see how many join online and how many visit us on site, but I think the numbers are going to be...
Yes, because this year's ECCMID is again a hybrid event like last year, right?
Yes, I think hybrid events is more or less the new normal.
The new normal.
We should definitely continue with hybrid format. We have quite a few colleagues who could not join us for some last-minute issues. Colleagues from different countries who had difficulties in traveling to Copenhagen for funding reasons or other reasons. So I think this is also quite an inclusive approach to allow as many people as possible to join us.
Absolutely, and I've been told that there's over that the attendees that will be here in Denmark or online are from over 50 countries worldwide, so that's quite a lot. And I just heard you speak a little bit more about equality or inclusivity. How is that with regard to gender equality? I know that's a spear point for you as well. Is there some gender equality or equality in where people come from and are being enabled to visit this important conference?
Yeah, that's an important point. Firstly, with respect to attendance, of course, we do not control the attendance, but we have attendees from well over 150 countries, so it's super diverse. And if we look at our abstract presenters, they come from more than 100 countries.
Wow.
Again, this testifies for the diversity of our program, and also our invited faculty is originating from almost 70 different countries. We try to have representation for all global regions, and we are very aware of the fact that certain regions are not represented very well, like Eastern Europe and low-resource countries, and we're trying to be proactive in that and engage as many people as possible. So at the moment, I believe around 10% of our faculty comes from underrepresented countries, and we're constantly working to increase those numbers.
Yeah.
And with respect to gender balance, I think we did a very good job. So if we look at our faculty, our invited speakers, our invited chairs, 53% of them are female. And,
wow.
And for me, that is an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
And we also see this this change in the proposals that we received. So if in the past, I'm looking 3 or 4 years back, 2/3 of the proposed faculty would have been males. I think our proposing entities are really aware of that, and we are receiving, to begin with, some very well-balanced proposals. So this makes our work even easier, but I think it's a great achievement for the society.
Yes. And the number of abstracts that were submitted this year, can you comment on that a little bit? Was it more than last year, less, or similar? And how do you feel about that?
That's actually another record for this year's
wow.
ECCMID. So we received slightly over 6,000 abstracts in our regular call, and then several hundreds in the late-breaking call.
And
so
that's more than last year even?
This is far more than, far more
Wow.
than last year.
Yeah.
And so this surpasses the pre-pandemic numbers, and I'm very pleased with those numbers. We had an acceptance rate of 70% this year, and that means that we are displaying on site 3,500 posters.
Wow.
That's a lot. So we have 4 packed days with posters in the poster area. And then we have also the oral presentations that stem from submitted abstracts. And this year we increased the number of oral presentations because many colleagues are very keen on having an opportunity to also present their abstracts orally.
Absolutely.
And we have nearly 1,000 oral presentations.
Wow. Yeah.
So these are immense numbers.
A lot of opportunity to interactively also share the data and the science. Yeah, that's wonderful. And with regard to, because I heard you mention it's even higher than pre-pandemic, but I can imagine that the topics of the abstracts have changed somewhat, because there were a couple of years that a lot of the abstracts were on the topic of COVID-19. How is that this year, now that we seem to have left the pandemic behind and have learned to live with COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So COVID, not unexpectedly, comprised a significant proportion of our program, especially in 2021. That was the fully online Congress, and also last year in Lisbon. And the proportion of scientific content dedicated to COVID was quite significant, both with the invited program and also the abstract program. So this year, we still see a COVID presence in the program, but it's much lower than last year.
Yeah.
And I think this sort of rectifies the distribution of topics.
Yeah.
So we still have stuff going on related to COVID. This is also representing the fact that there are scientific studies that took a while to complete,
Yeah.
and our colleagues are now publishing the results and disseminating the information. So I predict that last year maybe we will see even less, and
Yeah.
It's important to mention that over the last 3 years we had COVID-19 as a separate category in our
Program.
in our Congress, and if things remain as they are, I think it will be fair to say that the COVID category will somehow be merged with the other viruses,
Yeah.
and I think that for me will be the
Also a very hopeful
the new
outlook.
normal, yes.
Yeah. So moving on, because it's not just the ECCMID in which all the scientific content happens. There's also ECCMID-affiliated events, pre-ECCMID days, post-ECCMID days. Do you care to briefly share a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so we had we planned this year 6 online events. These are satellite days that focus on specific topics, and they complement the program. So for us, this is an integral part of the program, just happening fully online before and after Congress. And I think this is part of the strategy to make ECCMID influential year-round and not only during those 4 days. So this is definitely something that we will consider continuing. And we have some other satellite events, and the most notable was the event that we held yesterday on the Friday.
Yep.
In collaboration with the WHO and GLG, focusing on AMR, which is it always
Was a very high-level meeting, right?
Yeah. So AMR is a big thing for CMID, and I think that now, when COVID subsides, this gives an opportunity not only to scientists but also to decision makers to return to dealing with the challenge of AMR, which remains.
Which some also call another pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most important public health threat in our field. So this was definitely a very successful event with high-level speakers, and it was very well attended. And I hope that this also allows the society to influence the political agenda with respect to AMR, because there's a lot to do on this field.
Yeah. And I was also told, Jacob, that there are new formats this year. So each ECCMID, I believe you're trying to incorporate something new for our visitors. What's new this year?
Yeah, so we introduced a flash e-poster presentation, an oral presentation. So these are short oral presentations of the abstracts, and they take place in the arenas. And this allows us, as I said, to engage more speakers.
Yeah.
So that is one change of format that is notable. We piloted last year sessions that focus on clinical cases, and those were well received.
Yes.
Many of our attendees are clinicians, and discussing difficult cases is something that is educational and very instructive. So this was further enhanced this year. So we have 10 case sessions, and of course there are far more case abstracts that are presented as posters. And this complements very nicely the clinical grand rounds, which are like the ultimate case presentations. And we also have our selective pressure quiz, which is the first time that we are holding such an entertaining but also educational event. And the core of the selective pressure would be teams competing against each other in solving and cracking clinical cases. So I think overall the business of clinical cases is very prominent in the program, and as a medical doctor, I'm very happy.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun format also to exchange the scientific insights. Speaking of, last year we had the very popular escape room. Will that be back?
Yes, it's back. We doubled its capacity.
Because
the demand was very high last year, and we have a very interesting story this year. So the participants in the escape room will have to save the world from an imminent threat.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very nice scientific story, and they also need, in addition to like the standard puzzles, they will need to solve some scientific questions. So I think it will be very challenging, and I guess you will dedicate a TV slot for that later on.
Yes, usually we invite the maker of the escape room game. So that will be fun to hear more about. It's such a great opportunity to work with the science in a fun way. There are also at ECCMID also the year-in sessions. Do you care to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the year-in sessions, these are like our classic sessions that review the most important publications of the past year.
Okay.
And traditionally we have 3 year-in sessions, year in infectious diseases, clinical microbiology, and infection control. And this year we added a 4th, a new one, that is year in public health. And I think this will provide an interesting angle that was not covered up until now. So we have 2 amazing speakers for that session, and I'm sure it will be very well attended
because public health has become increasingly important with all the things that happened the past years, right?
Yes, of course, and we cannot disconnect what we do on the clinical level with the public health level, so everything links together.
Yeah. Another really fun part, I think, of the ECCMID program is that there's always an art gallery, or at least always the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And here in the ECCMID TV studio, we're so lucky to invite some of the artists. These are people that are scientists, right? Can you just explain a little bit more on why it's important for the ECCMID program committee to include such a, a para-scientific art?
I mean, first of all, you say it's a fun part, but actually I believe that it's quite a serious part.
Also, yes.
Because we started with the art gallery during the pandemic, because many of our colleagues had the urge to express their feelings about the situation, and having both the art skills but also the scientific or medical background led to amazing results. And at the beginning, the focus of the art gallery was really on the experiences of medical practitioners caring for COVID patients, and also concerning the social implications of the pandemic, the lockdowns, and so forth. And I think the art gallery, like our society, is slowly transitioning. And what we're seeing this year is a slightly different composition. So it moves away from COVID to other areas of life, antimicrobial resistance, fungal infections, and some other quite
But all the art is actually science, infectious diseases related?
Yes.
Or is there also art that is truly created from a whole different aspect of life?
So some of the artwork documents scientists and medical staff in action. Some of it is actually based on lab work. You would see what we call the agar art, so creating artwork using bacteria inoculated on agar. So this is also very, very nice. And we also have some poetry and photography, so it's really diverse.
It's really,
And the artwork is available online as a flip book, and also displayed at the upper floor in the venue. So I think it's really super exciting.
It would be great for everyone to go and check it out. Would be a good experience. I'd like to move on to a very important part of the program as well, the keynote lectures that have been planned. How many are there? And can you just touch on a few of the topics maybe? Yeah,
so we have 8 very eminent keynote speakers, and they come from really different areas. So I think the panel of keynotes really covers an amazing breadth of science. and it has some more basic science aspects like the archaeome, which is something that we barely discuss in our daily life in microbiology, moving to more clinical aspects such as the treatment of urinary tract infections and the management of infections in immune-compromised patients, and finishing with more technology-oriented and innovative aspects such as the digitalization of microbiology and infectious diseases. I'm not covering everything. Just to
and
to
these keynote lectures, they're spread out over the next 4 days.
Yes,
right?
and we also have the fireplace sessions where each of the keynotes will interact in an informal manner with our trainees, which is also a super.
It's a really great way to interact with an expert in the field. And just because I think we're almost going to wrap up because well, there's so much to this program. The few of the highlights. Can you just mention a few of the highlight sessions taking place?
Yeah, so maybe worth mentioning the open forum session format because these are not purely scientific sessions. This is what I call the program director's cut in the program, and this is a much more flexible format, and we try through the open fora to deal with the let's say the softer issues of clinical microbiology and infectious diseases. So this year we have 6 of them, and they will be covering aspects like sustainability in infectious diseases, equal opportunities in scientific publication, the funding of CMID work, gamification of infectious diseases and adaptive platforms and educational resources. So these are all methodological and societal issues and professional affairs related issues. And I hope that these will be very well attended. We have amazing speakers lined up for those sessions.
Also, there's even much more to this program. I mean, we've covered quite some of especially the new formats, some of the goldie oldies that will return and even increase in numbers so that more people have the opportunity to follow. How should people make their choice? Where to go? Do you have tips?
Yeah, before the tips, I would like to mention another very important part of our program, which is the industry.
Yes.
We have a huge exhibition, the largest to date, with 7,000 square meters of exhibition and nearly 250 exhibitors, which is another record for ECCMID. And we have more than 50 integrated symposia, which are scientific sessions developed in collaboration with the industry. And this is a very important part of our program. Over a third of those sessions deal with diagnostics and new technology. So I think this is a very important addition.
That's a huge unmet need within the field of infectious diseases, right?
And to find one's way in the program, we have several solutions. First of all is the app. The app covers everything and is easily searchable. And of course, we have the online platform, which allows search, and the old school people can still have this on paper as well. And importantly, we introduced this year for the first time some personalization of the program. So
in the app?
Not in the app. It's developed in the online platform this year. Next year, I hope it will be already available on the app. But attendees will receive some recommendations regarding sessions that may be interesting for them based on their profile.
Yeah.
as they entered it through
Yeah, and
registration.
there's specialty fields and
And
interest
I think
fields.
this opens
Yeah.
a whole new field of how to make ECCMID more immersive for our attendees. So this is one of our strategic development goals for the next years.
Well, that's the best tip, I think. So to look into your personalized journey on the online platform while planning your scientific program for yourself. And probably people at home will also be very inspired by this talk, by you hearing about all the program has to offer. So thank you so much, Jacob, for coming and sharing some insights behind the program with us. We will be seeing you back later again here at the ECCMID TV studio. But first, you're going to dive into your own ECCMID program this year. I wish you a very, very fruitful and enjoyable and scientific ECCMID so far. And for our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We will be back every hour on the hour with live interviews with some of the top researchers, keynote lecturers, executive committee members. So we have a whole full program here ourselves at ECCMID TV as well, where you can hear a little bit more and learn a little bit more about the people behind the science that is being presented to you in this scientific program. So thank you now for watching us, and please tune in again in an hour on the hour, and you will see us again. See you then.